Test, test, test. Doing.
Test.
Might turn your side up just a little bit since you gotta look further away. Okay, fine. What do I have written down for topics?
Should I just read them off as we go?
Yeah, just read them out.
Okay.
If one piques your interest, we can start talking about it.
How do we deal with horror movie? That's actually a pretty good one. How we deal with horror movie villains.
We kind of did that last one without knowing it. With Michael Myers.
In a sense, yeah. Like we described how we would each other react to that.
Yeah.
However, I mean, there's more than we can cover on because like.
There's other movies.
Yeah. Oh, next one. Space. What floating alone would do to you.
I can't remember if there was a prop, like a reason I came up with that.
Is this like a hypothetical where we're like immortal?
I think so.
And we have like no way to like direct the direction that we are because it's just like us in space.
Yeah.
Hunting. What makes us uncomfortable? Memories from child. Dude, these are all great. What makes us angry? Times we've been angry. We're gonna have to like set aside a whole episode for that one. Like you've seen me angry 3 times today. We've just barely spoken. Game, book, film ideas. We bring a bunch of hypotheticals.
Mm-hmm. Could have a whole set of hypotheticals, just short ones.
New sensor sounds.
Oh yeah, actually, for that one, I had an idea that for each episode, we just make a new sound and we add that to our list of sensor sounds. We were saying that we need more sensor sounds because we just have your roar.
We do.
So what do you want your sensor sound for this episode to be?
I'm sorry, I may have just blocked out the first thing you said. You mean like every episode?
Every episode we add a new one to the catalog.
Because that raw you just said is like kind of unique because it's in your voice.
Oh, I should do a raw as well?
Yeah.
Raw.
I think you could drag it out. No, like in post. Like make it super slow.
Raw. Yeah, I can do that. Hold on. Try that one again.
that actually didn't sound. Let me do a better take. That was falling off a cliff.
How'd you still get in the red from that distance?
It's directed. It's right.
Yeah.
Parallel to my mouth.
You're very pointed. So do you want to go longer? Or do you want to do a full thing?
Let's do a full thing because I mean that'd. Oh god. Oh fuck. Oh, what the fuck happened? Don't look at me.
Look away.
Fuck.
Is that the soda coming up?
Yeah, I don't really drink soda that often.
I mean, I can't say I haven't had that before.
My body's not used to carbonation.
It was just interesting to see that in someone else.
Did it look like I was like about to like die or explode?
No, just vomit.
Oh fuck. Anyway, dreams, nightmares. My nightmare of 2 murders, then suicide.
I told you about that, right?
You did. How it made me not okay for a few days, especially the drive to school and talking to Anna.
Yeah.
That part, I have no fucking clue. This could be anything.
I think I told you about that. Should I just go through it since there's like no context right now?
Yeah, we could work the list in reverse order. You could start with that.
Should we do random courses then instead of choosing? If we're going through all of them,
yeah.
Might as well do each one once.
I'd rather not pick this time.
It was last year, I believe. I had a nightmare where I don't know the details of it anymore. If you want to hear all the details, I have a video on my channel called My Nightmare. Because that was pretty soon after it, and I recalled more of it. But the main events were that I committed 2 murders and then jumped off of a balcony.
In your dream?
Yes, in my dream. I committed 2 murders and then jumped off a balcony to kill myself. And when I woke up from it, it wasn't doing too great because it felt very real. And then the part that he was saying that I'm in my notes about driving to school and not be okay and then talking to my friend Anna was that I just had to go to school that day. It was a school day. It's only like a 5-minute drive to class, but I was so distraught from my nightmare that I almost went off the road a couple times, which is not good. I probably should have just stopped driving. I should have said no more class today.
Yeah, you could have just like stayed in.
Yeah. When I got to class, I was sitting next to my friend, and she noticed I wasn't acting like my normal self. So she was like, "Hey, Luke, you okay? It looks like you're kind of zoning out." In about this tone, I said, "I had a dream last night where I committed 2 murders and then jumped off a balcony to my suicide." And she was like, "What?"
Sorry.
And I said it like in that tone, but it wasn't quiet. So other people heard me because the classroom was quiet.
You accidentally spoke into a microphone.
So other people turned around and were like, "Oh my God, that's not normal." That's the basic synopsis of it. Have you ever had a dream affect you like that in such a strong way?
I've had dreams that they definitely like, I wake up and I'm like deeply affected by the last things I remember in them. Like, I think I told you about this. When I had the dream, it was like in my third or fourth year of high school. It's the one about like a war in the future, basically World War III, but it's, very far in the future. So we have like all kinds of future technology, and it's actually a lot like Halo, basically, like high powered like mech suits and plasma grenades and shit. And like my dream was just a very vivid experience of like being cannon fodder. I remember we had they were like distinctly white, kind of armored gear that is very like advanced, and like there's like a filtration unit, and I could remember like feeling all these things like the cold air like kind of rush into my lungs, that it like when it was like clearly like room temperature outside, constant pressure on my face from like where the mask fits on it, and the helmet, I should say. They just gave us masks. I remember, speaking of the plasma grenade part, I did get stuck by one in my dream.
Yeah, I do remember you telling me about that.
It landed on my leg and like melted through the metal, and like I could remember this like searing pain in my leg because it fucking was burning me alive. When it blew up, it's like I just remember like bliss, like my ears were ringing. I wouldn't say like ecstasy, but I just like being like knocked unconscious basically. And then when I came to, my fucking leg was gone, and I could remember just like laying on my side, seeing like just horrible things happening around me while I was like able to do nothing about it and just lay there. And I can't remember like accurately what I dreamed going that point forward, but I just remember the feeling of when I was like Jesus Christ, that was horrible.
When you got knocked unconscious, you said bliss, and I thought that was an interesting word to use. Do you mean it was good because you were getting out of the situation a little bit, you didn't feel all the senses anymore?
I've been in the hospital like one time for like a major injury in my life, and I remember like the feeling of like when they sedate you. I guess that's what my brain was emulating the experience to be like, because basically what happens is like you feel nothing. I guess that's like what an approximation of my brain thought like your body shutting down would be like, because I just remember like feeling nothing. The last thing to go was actually my vision. Presumably I was unconscious because I did wake up like after that point to find that my leg was gone, but like you have no sense. And to me that's probably what bliss is, because as opposed to the terror happening around you.
I find it interesting hearing other people's experience with dreams, because I don't dream in many other senses than vision. I never remember anything else other than the vision.
Yeah.
Or like just, the emotions. And I guess that's kind of how my imagination is too. If I try, I can imagine other senses, but they're not as strong.
For me, I think, because vision's like a part of it, obviously, I'm seeing horrible things, but being totally immersed is to be able to feel all the sensations happening around you, like, when like cold air hits your face, or like even just like changes in pressure, like if your ears pop from like a really loud noise or something. It's like that all kind of adds to it for me. And it's very rarely that I'll remember a dream because of just a visual cue. Like it leaves a lasting impact if I can feel all the other senses.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. Well, I don't get that, but I understand it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you've got the one dream, I've got the other. The only two dreams that ever existed ever. I'm
trying to think of other dreams that I've had. I can't think of any that stick out right now.
I've never written down a dream, or like I just remember them as, I'm sure that the accuracy isn't as great, but I remember them as I think I had them. Except for one that I tried to draw a picture of. It was also in high school. I don't know what I was on in high school. I had a lot of my most compelling dreams in high school. I mean, the last 2 years, I've rarely had any that are worthy of note. This one was like, I don't know how it ended up in this case, but I was a professional racer in like a Eurostar type Grand Prix thing, pass through multiple countries and like different environments and stuff. But the vehicle is office chairs that roll.
Oh.
Like everyone scoots themselves backwards at 80 miles an hour. Going around like cliffs and turns and stuff, but it's in spinning office chairs.
I could, maybe not the environments, but I could see races like that happening, because there are race events that are silly. You can only race in recliners, or like you have to include a mattress in your vehicle.
The only thing that I remember like significantly about it is that there was just like a handbrake, and that's the thing that you usually would use to lower your chair. That's the thing that stops you. But you can't see what you can only like turn your head at like, when it's like you're going around a bend, but you can't see exactly behind you. It just so happens that these are the most frictionless office chairs on the planet, and just like scooting yourself backwards will rush you in that direction.
Does it work like an e-brake so you can kind of drift it?
You can a little bit. You can you can work it as you're going around the corner, which is kind of a funny concept for like a game. or like an experience in general.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea how that would work in real life.
The drifting mechanic?
Yeah.
I don't know if
like,
that would, because an office chair just swivels anyway. Like, you could just turn around.
No mirrors allowed. Oh shit, this isn't
Shitting. Sorry, I need to stop doing that.
It's the first time you've had the awareness of it. You've done that to other people who don't understand the inside joke part. And like, they just write it off completely.
I occasionally think about when we were recording Borderlands with Kai, how we made that joke like halfway through the recording of the "you're gonna cry, piss in pants, maybe shit and cum," and he was like, "You guys say that way too much." It's not funny. I don't know where that comes from. It was just like a meme, right?
I think it's just a meme. I don't know precisely where it came from. I remember like a couple like reposts of it that Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron.
You're gonna cry.
You're gonna cry. Maybe shit and cum.
There really is something about getting to the groove of it. I said before in one of the previous episodes that I think I do better when I'm focusing, but right now I'm not focusing. I'm doing really well.
Yeah, on average, I'm doing okay, and I'm not focusing very much.
Yeah. I don't know when's the last time I did all 32 races. Have we ever done 32 races before?
We've probably done it one time. I mean, we play this a lot.
Yeah, we do. This is what we usually do. There was a time when I was younger, when me and my brother still both lived at home. My brother came up with the idea that me and him should play this version of Mario Kart, the one we always play.
Yeah.
Do all 32 races in order, like straight through, and put $100 down just like on a bet, wagering who could do better at it.
Are you confident in your ability to beat him, or was that like at the time you were pretty matched?
At the time we were pretty matched. Now I'd be very confident.
Yeah. Do you think he'd still be willing to put $100 down on it?
I don't know. I should text him about it, because that'd be a fun thing to do. 'Cause I don't even know if me and him ever played all 32 races, because we played this game a lot. This was our game.
Yeah.
I just basically replaced him with you.
You're just emulating life at home with your roommate.
Maybe if he ever comes to visit, we'll do an episode with him, and then we'll just me and him will have a bet.
I'd love to moderate it, keep it honest, take score.
All right, boys, no low blows. Want a good clean fight?
Keep it above the belt. No grimaces out there.
No grimaces? Is that a thing they say?
I don't know. I mean, like, I would imagine, it's like fucking dirty looks. They're gonna, like, spark conflict, so it's like, no being aggressive.
No meanies. No insults.
No meanies. That's such, like, a not loaded... you give up on that when you're, like, 5, because you realize, like, it doesn't get you anywhere. You use it when, like, you're wrong and you want to die on that hill, or you just don't have, like, anything else that you can, like, come back with. Oh, you're being mean. It's like, well, you were fine right up until now.
Yeah. I keep getting ready to pass the controller to you to pick the next course, man. It just picks for me.
Take it anyway and play. You meanie! Oh, yeah, going down the list. I think we've pretty much covered dreams. What was the...
We'll check in between races, man.
All right. I know we were in the middle of, like, a natural conversation, but I wanted to interrupt that to get back to the prompts.
Because we don't want the show to be natural, like we were planning.
We want it to be forced and awkward and loaded with silence.
When we can't fill the prompts.
I don't know if it's an effect from video games. It's very hard for me to imagine explosions or high amounts of activity in my head, like in real life, without lag.
Huh.
Do you have, like, imagine in real time, I don't know, like a horde of people and then, like, them exploding without any lag.
You're saying that when you imagine that,
It's-
your brain takes time to process everything going on, like as if it was a game,
Not takes time, like, as in my brain's lagging, but, like,
but it stutters.
I've only seen it in video games. My brain does not, I guess, know of an image where that doesn't result in a little bit of lag.
I guess so, yeah.
Like, can you imagine one that's, like, moving very quickly without, like, making it kind of animated?
I feel like I'm realizing that even my visual memory is not that capable of being visual.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to take this here, but I've seen 9/11. Well, I haven't seen 9/11, but I've seen 9/11 in videos, and there's no lag there. But that's effectively, like, the kind of thing that would make lag in a video game. I can't imagine a scenario without it.
When I imagine it, either has lag or there's fewer elements to
Yeah.
it. Like there's less people, there's less things that would cause lag, or it's much more of a blur. It's very out of focus, and I can't focus on more than one thing at a time.
Yeah, I
So I
guess
guess it's equivalent to what you have.
I guess it would be, like, frightening. I mean, and like, it would just render you, like, utterly speechless if you did see that in real life
Yeah,
in
definitely.
its entirety, because, like, You can imagine it, and you can imagine it from kind of an artistic perspective, but you cannot imagine it without lag or like focusing on one particular thing. But it is technically something our brains can comprehend, so it's like I think it would be all the more shocking.
I need to go to the deep web and watch more explosions.
But before,
With many people within them.
Before a time without computers or like 3D graphics, like could people just imagine it?
At that time, would they even have seen many explosions unless you were in like a war?
I guess it would have to be like a war.
Because if you haven't seen explosions, you probably even can't imagine it at all.
What about like a house full of people and like a gas explosion?
I guess so, but how often are you going to see that?
Very rarely, but like the point is like, could they imagine that?
I suppose so.
Our brains are probably like, what's the point? You know, like why would we have to imagine that?
Stop imagining people exploding.
But the idea is like, can you do it without latency?
And the brain's like, that's not the point. This isn't healthy.
I guess I just have to see it.
I can make that happen.
I know a guy.
That guy is me.
That guy is me. We were going to move on to the second prompt, right?
Which was...
Well, you were going to read it.
We got a lap and a half left. It's okay.
Let me die or win first.
Well, if you die, you come back, so you gotta win. Or lose. Losing doesn't mean die. Dying means losing, but losing doesn't mean dying.
But I said die or come back. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's both.
Yeah, one leads to the other.
You'll die and come back,
well,
which is what you said. And I'm essentially just reconstructing your thought process instead of listening to you.
As you do. Well, actually, no. You saying exactly what I just said means you were listening to me, because you can recount it very closely.
Kai kind of made a point about me that I never realized, but now I think I have come to terms with, is that I don't listen, but rather reconstruct what people's like thoughts are in real time without listening to anything that they've said.
So you like hear the initial statement and then you come to the same conclusion?
I come to the same conclusion. And then I can just like, sometimes if I do it quickly enough, imagine that I was listening or pawn it off like I was listening to them.
In one of the Leave the Company videos, Kai asks us like where we're going, and I say, let's go to March. And you say, where we going? Experimentation?
Like, in the first thing he said is, like, we cannot go to experimentation. Experimentation is eclipsed right now. Why are we going to experimentation? Like, when we're on March? Like,
explain to me. Because you haven't yet. And there's that one point I got once really stuck on me.
I don't even know what I got there. I wasn't listening when I looked.
I don't know if we're in the right state of mind to record right now, because I keep stuttering, and then you say you weren't listening when you looked.
You're like, that doesn't even make any sense, and they're not going to know what we're talking about. Oh, yeah, we're going to read the second prompt, which...
I'll hit the home button.
Okay, there we go.
I'm almost out of battery.
Things are fine.
I was smiling too much in my Face ID to get me.
This is a rest day.
That's edgy.
This is an intellectual rest day.
The next prompt is new slang versus old slang. I didn't think much into this prompt. I was just like, oh, that would be interesting to talk about.
Well, it sounds like a BuzzFeed type thing.
New
But
slang
like,
versus old slang.
We should have let it...
Which one's better? Which one's more valid?
We should have given an introduction. Are you asking, like, what is some new slang and what is some old slang? Or like?
I guess, yeah, just discussing what it is and what it means.
I don't even know what, like, old slang could be. To tell you the truth, I don't even know what, like, new slang is. Is slang just something people have, like, coined as a term themselves, or is...
I mean, the original meaning of it is short language. So that presumably is things getting combined, like... Slang is slang for short language.
Well, you know, like the finna in substitute for gonna.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's a lot older than I thought it was. That people have been saying that for years.
I think finna is actually short for two words, though, like
fixing to.
Fixing to, fitting to, figuring to, something like that.
But effectively, it means gonna, right?
Yeah.
And people use it in place of gonna.
Like I'm getting ready to do blank.
I'm finna do blank. I'm finna win this race right now.
I mean, that works. You'd be accepted in the community of youth.
I'm fixing to win this race right now.
I don't know if that's the right word, though. I guess that's what the topic is, like trying to figure out what shit is.
I like to imagine it's fixing to, because people haven't used that term since, like, World War II. I'm fixing to beat these Germans right now. Well, I'm finna win World War II.
Well, when you say it's older than you thought, then, like, how old is it?
I didn't realize it was, like, at least as old as the 80s.
Oh.
But I looked it up one time. I'm sure it's even older than that.
That's a really old person scenario, though, to, like, look up, what does finna mean? How old is finna?
I'm finna turn on the radio, you see? Ba-da-doo-ba-boo! This shit's fire.
This shit litty. This music finna be bumpin'.
Yeah, glizzy means hot dog, right? That's
Yeah.
that's a thing you've said. But I don't know where I heard that. And then like, is that like something that's like a sports related term? Or
I
like,
have no clue.
where does glizzy come
I
from?
just started hearing it sometimes, and I was like, "That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life."
You probably heard it from me, and then continued to hear it from me, and then you finally looked it up. Because I heard it as like a meme. They would just like sprinkle it in somewhere.
It just started to spread as memes do, and with no context. It just was. There's always some lingo that makes me unhappy, like this, like the new stuff that comes up that I think,
The new language dropped.
like, I don't think it's gonna catch on. I believe it's a new term for ass, which is gyat,
Yeah.
Gyat.
Like they turned it into a noun?
yeah, that's an exclamation, right? It's supposed to be like a yeah, like a
Well, because
like a
it's
whoa.
like it. Well, I think it's derived from like "goddamn," which is something that people would say when they see
Yeah.
an ass. You know, I've seen that as like memes where it's like "Godzilla."
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, but now it's a noun.
which is weird. They've taken an entire sentence, reduced it to 2 words, and then turned that into like the one specific. You can't use "got" in any other case anymore.
I think the first time I heard that, or like I guess the one that sticks out is shit, I can't remember the name of the guy. He posts a lot of videos of trolling people on Omegle. He puts in like fake skips.
I've seen things like that.
Yeah,
And then he like jump scares them.
yeah, exactly. But other times he just kind of messes with them without necessarily jump scaring them.
Yeah.
One of the things he likes to do is just like get in like full view of the camera and do something that like, exposes his giant ass. And he like bends over in a
Take a
certain
look
way.
at my yacht, fellas.
He says, "Let's do a dance competition." And he starts like throwing it back really hard.
Oh my god.
I just remember like one time when he turned around and went to pick up something off the floor.
Whoops.
The guy he was on the Omega call with was like, "Damn, that boy got a gyat."
Got a. He,
Yeah, like
do
a
they
noun.
not see the redundancy in that? Yacht is got a.
Yeah.
Next, they're gonna start like mutating it into gyati or something like that.
Combining two slang.
Yeah. In the bodybuilding community, people will say, "Oh, I'm natty," and that's
Natural.
yes, natural, which means strictly that they're not on steroids. Mm-hmm. But like they'll claim it if they're using
distance.
like all kinds of like vitamins and like, because to me natural is like, you know, just improving your body as best you can with like a natural diet.
Yeah.
Not like, you know, taking creatine, taking like every vitamin under the sun, and like just absolutely like some Spartan shit, like maximizing like the output that your body can perform.
Yeah, natural should mean like
Yeah.
you get it from natural sources.
Well, that, and then also like a reasonable natural assessment of how peak your body is in terms of performance. Because yeah, I get it. It's like an athlete. It's an athletic thing, and like it's kind of a sport in some circles. But I think people don't really know what that term means. What even is natural if it's not what people ate before they had access to like farming?
So this is our official opinion that if you're not eating, if you can't eat any vitamins, you can't use creatine, nothing to assist your workout other than crops that you grow yourself.
Yeah, bro,
and
I'm
the animals
natty.
that you've slaughtered.
So when you say natural, what I expect to be hearing is that you dug up a seed after like the extinction event of the dinosaurs, and you lived on those for your entire generation.
Yeah, with the one seed. You can't plant
one
it.
seed, you shared it. You sliced it so thinly that you were able to disperse it among a group of thousands.
And now they're all bodybuilders. It's impressive.
Humans, I don't think were like evolutionarily designed to like be the strongest animal. That's why, I mean,
Definitely not.
I mean, yeah, it's basic deviation. Wherever the last cousin we had to, I guess, other great apes, that's where we decided we didn't want to be strong. Otherwise, we'd be like gorillas right now.
We'd rather be smart.
Like, dude, the
With quotation marks.
weakest gorilla can pick up like 4 times the weight of the strongest man in the world, like easily. We're not meant to.
But we push ourselves anyway.
Yeah,
We strive for greatness, and we try we almost reach it sometimes.
I
I
guess
shouldn't say we, because I'm not part of that.
you come from it. Oh, you mean the bodybuilding thing,
Yeah.
not from.
I don't come from bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I come for it.
That needs to be a T-shirt. Why aren't we selling merch yet?
I'll set up a Printify shop.
Okay. I was having dinner with my mom recently. I don't have a lot going on in my life right now, so it's just like, why not? We could try this restaurant.
Yeah, it was the restaurant.
It was, well, I don't want to dox myself. It was... Are you going to take that one for the censor? I'd like to modify them, too. Like, you get some reverb in there. This sounds a little racist.
Does it?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it sounded like I was doing an impression of something.
Of what, though?
I don't know.
If you can't even identify it, then it can't be racist.
That's a debate for another episode. We should add that as a prompt, though.
of what is racist?
Yeah, what even is
and have we been racist yet?
No, saying it out loud doesn't sound like it's such a good idea. It just seems like there's a lot of opportunities for people to catch us in the wrong context.
That gives me a lot of ammo for shorts.
I mean, right now is like a terrible one. Like, what even is racist?
We're not racist.
Like, this better turn a different direction really quickly. Anyway, I was having dinner with my mom.
Yeah.
And she leaned over to me because we were at a table with other people because it was hibachi.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "What is crack?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's never leaned over to me, like to ask me something in public, trying to keep it a secret though, which is really weird.
Did it come out of nowhere?
It did. And I'm like, I think crack is a drug from the 80s. Why are you whispering right now? She's like, I don't want them to hear. And I'm like, they don't care. I'm pretty sure crack is also still around.
Yeah.
But
it's like cocaine mixed with, is it baking soda?
I don't think it's baking soda, but I believe you're on the right track. I don't know specifically.
Hey Siri, what is crack cocaine made of?
You probably don't want to be searching these things.
Shh. No, not cracker. Fucking whatever. Go away. Siri, go away.
So what I told her is I'm pretty sure it's like derived from cocaine. It's got other ingredients to make it like much more addictive, and it was distributed widely among like urban areas in the United States.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, and then we just like kept eating. But I wanted to tell this anecdote because I didn't want to just like bottle that up.
I guess it was probably one of those things that like just pops up in your head like, what is crack? I've heard that before, but I don't really know what it is.
I mean,
so she just like, I'll ask him.
It seems like a Google question.
Well, it'd be more rude to pull out your phone at a table than to proclaim you don't know what crack is, I guess.
I guess so. Maybe she just wanted something to talk about with herself.
How do I connect?
He'll know.
He hasn't talked in 20 minutes. Nick, what is crack?
We have such a just strained relationship. This is the Hail Mary.
I took him to hibachi. He hates hibachi.
Everyone knows he's not a fan of any Japanese food.
They want some sushi right now.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. They have sushi there, which we didn't get.
Oh, it was to the place we went before?
No, that one's in... Censor that.
But you said earlier?
Censor that too. Okay. We went... That one is...
Cut that out.
The one I went to dinner with my mom to is called Kyoto. That's an actual town in Japan, so you don't have to keep that out.
Yeah, you guys went there.
Yeah. Since we started, it got dark.
Yeah, we did start in like early afternoon. Early-ish
What time is
afternoon.
it now? It's also early afternoon, isn't it?
It's 6:30, so it's like mid to late.
It looks like 10 o'clock at night.
Well, it's winter. It gets dark early.
Winter should be done. I hate winter's face.
It's still January.
It's that's true. That's true. I can't refute that.
It's like the strongest winter right now. When is the winter solstice?
What is that? The middle of winter?
I've been thinking about this because it's strange. I recently heard that the winter solstice is the first day of winter, but it's also the shortest day of the year, which doesn't make sense because that should be the middle of winter if it's the shortest day of the year and like the strongest winter.
Why are they even calling it like what is the shortest day of the year?
The daylight is lesser.
Oh, but it's still the same
Still 24 hours.
The same amount of time passes.
The shortest daytime of the year because the night is longer.
So there's also a longest day of the year?
Yeah, the summer solstice. That's not a joke. That's what it's called. I feel like you should have been able to imply that.
I mean, I guess, but the way maybe it's the way you said it. Maybe it's the way I'm imagining it. You made it sound like a holiday that I wasn't aware of.
I mean,
When is the winter solstice? I'm like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, it sounded like you were going to describe it as like this massive feast that everyone has.
Anybody who's anybody is going to be there.
I'm going to the festival, man.
When everybody jumps off the shortest cliff on the planet into the deepest water, we get in a circle, like holding hands across the whole equator.
That's the winter solstice.
Yeah, and then we sing Christmas songs for the summer solstice. This is going on too long.
This is tangentially related. I have a physics-based hypothetical.
Okay.
What would happen if the entire population of Earth that was like willing and able gathered to one continent but like got as closely knit as possible without like touching each other, and then just jumped.
Oh, are you saying like what would that do to the Earth?
Yeah. Or would anything happen?
I don't think enough.
You don't think there's enough people?
I don't think it's enough people because there's a lot of people, but compared to the Earth big, people small.
Granted, everyone's not a trained athlete with that weighs 400 pounds each, but something even minutelly's got to change, right? Like at least maybe you could feel like a shockwave from like a mile away.
I would say you'd probably be able to hear it and maybe feel it because. I mean, 8 billion people. Is it more by now?
I think it is probably more now.
It's like 8.5 or something?
To tell you the truth, I actually don't. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am one of the small amount of people, the small group of people.
I believe the Earth's flat, yeah.
You could throw it like a frisbee.
We all gotta get on the edge and start running to spin it.
That's how the Earth happens, is people walk, and we're slightly weighing down one side, and it's spinning like a disc.
We all just happen to walk in the right direction to make it spin like a record. Nobody knows it, but you're all falling into the government's trap.
And the fish swim in the ocean to keep it balanced.
Yeah, that's what the currents are. That's what the tides do. Wake up, sheeple.
Sheeple? I haven't heard that in a long time. Dude, I can't even fucking remember what I was saying.
We were talking about if people got all in one spot and jumped on the Earth, and what would happen.
I was going somewhere with this.
Oops.
That's not your fault. It's mine.
No, just generally, oops. I'm not taking credit for it.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, so you could probably feel it as like a shockwave. I'm sure there's like some seismic event or like some like, if they perpetually did it, I don't know, like stacking energy on top of energy, or I guess like exerting force. You might be able to like collapse the city somewhere if like a lot of people were doing it.
Maybe if it was like within the city.
Or like I don't know, like
or even if they like direct it, like they go to the side, they could shoot it over.
Shoot it over.
Yeah.
It's also just a basic like kind of Newtonian energy conservation thing. Like the Earth is like way too big to cause any like global event using that. Why am I still waiting for people to finish? I was sure. Okay, there we go.
Do you think Rosaline ever like thinks about grabbing her Luma just to get some star power for once? Like last resort?
Probably all the time. She's probably tried it before, but Luma didn't see and she moved. She was like, it's gonna be unethical if I try it again. Luma will never die. And that's what's bothering her. Is like she's gonna take her to a park one day. She's gonna have like a handgun in the back pocket as they're looking at the sunset. Get her an ice cream. What do you think? Why are you crying?
If I ever animate, I want to animate that scene.
And then just like from the distance, you just see sparkles.
Stardust.
Yeah, Stardust.
Star bits. That's what they are.
Star
right?
bits.
The colorful things you can collect in Mario Galaxy.
It's like. A jogger running by like inhales some and like starts coughing.
They taste like honey.
Why does it taste like honey all of a sudden?
I feel the honey in my lungs. I cut you off again.
No. That was it. Oh wait, you mean before?
Yeah, with the Earth thing.
I can't even remember. I think actually that was about it. I'm probably gonna stop talking about it altogether. I don't have any real end to this scenario.
Well, yeah, you were asking questions, so it makes sense that you wouldn't have an end to it. I'm supposed to come up with the end. We collaborate on this end.
So so that's the end.
Yeah.
Is that like how the universe was created?
We work together to create the shit pile.
They couldn't decide, so they just keep propagating it until it like dissolves into chaos. Devolves into chaos. Dissolves makes it sound like something's happening.
I mean, something has to happen for it to devolve.
But really, nothing's happening.
Are you okay right now?
Nothing is happening in the universe in the grand scale of things. Like
the cosmos.
We're minor activity in the grand scheme of things. This actually reminds me. This is leading into like another one of the prompts that you had, like the floating forever alone in space.
Yeah.
Just nothing would happen. In this context, are you immortal?
We can think about it in two ways. You're immortal, or you're in a spacesuit. You're an astronaut that got detached and the ship went away, and now you're just floating for whatever time you have left.
Well, in that case, like I would probably pull the plug early. But if I couldn't die, if they're not coming back for you, and like you've given up all hope, like why would you prolong it?
Yeah. I mean, like, the vain hope that maybe they do come back if you don't know.
I would hold out for, like, as long as I possibly could, but eventually, like, if I realize there's nothing else that can be done, I'm killing myself.
Yeah. Channel flagged.
I'm unaliving myself.
There you go.
There we go.
We already said suicide.
What the kids say.
I literally said I murdered 2 people and committed suicide earlier.
We're gonna have to censor all that.
Fuck! Cut it out!
I really hope saying the word suicide doesn't get videos flagged. Okay.
There at least was a time like that I heard from secondhandly through creators on YouTube
that it does.
It wouldn't get you flagged, but it would get you that video demonetized. But I don't have ads, so we're safe.
Okay, well, if you ever do,
I got nothing to lose.
Why would you have ads if you're not going to get monetization anyway? Can you get ads at this point, or is that not how it works?
Well, monetization means ads.
Your videos will be ad-free for up until you start making money off them.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I start putting random like sponsorships in them, like just
sponsorships to what?
Whatever I want. Like this delicious Dr. Pepper, a combination of 23
you mean just
fantastic flavors.
You mean just promoting things for the sake of it? What would you do if you were floating in space forever? Or if not forever, but like, well, yeah. I mean, you agreed. I presume you would also kill yourself.
Clip that. I'd probably be in a similar situation there. I don't know if I'd be able to let myself just be in pain if I knew there was no going back. I think the more interesting question is, like, if you were immortal.
Like, there was nothing you could do. Well, could you kill yourself still if you were immortal?
I'm going to say for the sake of the hypothetical, no. I'm saying you're floating.
You can't even, like, bite your own tongue off and bleed out?
You could bite your own tongue, sure, but you're not going to bleed out.
You'd be alive with no tongue?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're going to be talking to anyone.
You can talk to yourself. Well, I guess in space you can't.
You could also think to yourself.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing, but you don't need a tongue for that.
I guess if there's no air,
everyone knows the tongue is where memory is stored.
Pee in the balls, memories on the tongue.
Pee in the balls. The longer you don't pee, the bigger your balls get.
Yeah.
So remember, hold it in as long as you possibly can.
The no piss challenge.
The no piss challenge. Let's go, goblins.
I'm pretty sure that was like a Gus Johnson bit. There's like, you go for a month without peeing, and you're not allowed to sweat either because that's cheating.
How do you not sweat?
Just don't sweat. Don't do anything that is sweat. Don't get hot. Don't exercise.
I mean, you can...
Not allowed to.
You can not pee for a little while, but you can't hold in sweat.
Well, yeah, so just don't do things that would propagate sweat.
Oh.
There you go.
And also, don't do things that would probably get you to pee.
Yeah. Presumably, you would only drink the tiniest amount of water, and you'd be, like, dead by day 3. So, I guess back to the hypothetical.
Yeah.
Being immortal, like, you can't die, and you're just floating, and there's no hope of, like, getting rescued. I'm just trying to think what that would do to my mind, because I would try to keep all my memories. I would try to restate all my memories, so I could hold on to those, because I don't want to forget everything I know, because then I just go insane and I have nothing left.
We talk about a lot of scenarios where, like, ultimately it's the same agenda, like, just trying to get you to go insane, or, like, asking the question of, like, what is being, or, like, becoming, like, insane, or, like, reverting to, like, a feral state or whatever.
Yeah, we kind of had that with the Michael Myers talk.
We did. We also kind of had that with the, what if you didn't stop shitting ever? Or at least it devolved into that. This kind of ties in, weirdly enough.
I guess so.
But I guess the point where I'm going with this is, like, I think going insane is, like, phase 1. So
Phase
if you're...
one.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, and I'll let you resume after this, but, like, the point I want to make is, like, I mean, what even is insanity? Just, like, any thoughts at all, or cacophony? Because eventually, wouldn't it just be, like, you're dead even though you're alive?
You go completely brain dead, basically.
Yeah, you just kind of float
anything
in space, because, like, there's no point in talking. Why is there even a point in thinking or doing anything? Like, you might as well be dead.
At a certain point, yeah. I think for the beginning, though, I would be trying to cling on to my sanity and, like, at least the knowledge that I have. Yeah. I'd be trying to, like, recite all my past memories. I would try to be, like, reciting songs to myself to keep myself company.
You got some balls, man. Like,
you're saying this during a hypothetical. If I got there, like, I don't know if I would actually be able to do this.
But if you're rendered immortal and unkillable.
Well, yeah, but I guess the other option is just let it fade. And
it's a mental will. I mean, I appreciate that, though, is what I'm saying. Because, like...
Well, the thing is, you don't know if I have the mental will, because I'm not in that situation. I'm just saying it.
But you say you would... And, like, I definitely am not going to.
Like, you know for certain.
Like, I want to make it clear, because I didn't say what I'd do if I was immortal. I would just try to, like, effectively kill myself while I was alive. And, like, not like, physically, like, try to, like, get myself... But I would just, like, stop doing anything.
Let yourself fade
I would go
into,
into, like, permanent hyper sleep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even close my eyes. I would just, like, lay there. Focus on, like, deleting everything that makes me. Just be like a husk.
I mean, there's not even necessarily much to look at. Maybe you see some stars if you're close to them.
Let's say, yeah, I mean, you might be able to see some stars, but let's say it's also, like, you're in a remote part of space that there's, like, it's just utter blackness. Mm-hmm. It's so dark, I mean, you can't see anything anyway.
Now, that'd be really weird, not even be able to have a reference of any sort.
Yeah, I think you would actually, like, I mean, it's just a matter of, like, how soon it happens, because you would, like, be thinking about your memories and everything. Sorry, I said I was going to let you continue. Go ahead.
I guess just kind of continuing off of that, that would be kind of a hell if you can't even see anything. Because like I was saying, for the little bit of imagination and memory I have, it's mostly visual. So not even be able to have a visual of seeing stars or like a nebula or anything in space, that would be really torturous.
Well, there is one other point to this. So even though you wouldn't be able to see anything outside, humans are like slightly bioluminescent. Like not to a point that you like it would like light up anything in front of you, but like if you closed your eyes, it might actually be slightly brighter than it would be if you had them open.
Yeah, of anything. Because if I'm the only thing within like several light years, then I'd be the only thing that could emit light. I mean, just because like body puts off energy, so some of that's going to be light.
That's what I mean. It's like that's why we get like thermal images and stuff of like that's how the police find you. I don't know. I went there for that, but. Like that, I mean, we exert energy in ways that we can't change. The no thermal light challenge. It's actually
escape from the police without.
You also have to not piss.
In space, no one can see you piss.
Can you imagine trying to piss in space? It would just freeze instantly.
It'd be stuck out your dick, like you just have a wand of piss in front of you.
I don't know why I'm saying that though. Like it would freeze inside you. It wouldn't even reach the outside before it froze. You would just die. I
mean, theoretically, all of you would freeze pretty quickly, right?
Yeah. One would hope that you didn't have to piss at the time.
Oh no, I had to piss before I got stuck in eternity out in space. And
Guess
now
I have this ice ball inside me. Would you try to, like, invent a fantasy, like, so elaborate that it's just, like, that's what your life is?
I live in my mind?
Yes, you just live in your mind.
That's a good idea. I'll take that. Yes.
But you wouldn't give up immediately. You wouldn't, like, just try to, like, erase everything that you are.
I don't believe that I would give up immediately. Maybe if I spent long enough, I would be turned into a type of god of my own universe in my mind.
Because it is eternity, and, like, that's a way to do it. But also, like, what would happen if you ripped out your own brain?
I thought you were going to say, what if I ripped a shitty one?
Create a gas cloud and invent a new galaxy.
I become the atmosphere.
Even if it is small, it is technically a galaxy.
Yeah. Well, everything's relative.
We could be a fart cloud and not know it.
We are God's fart cloud. It's incredible. What was the question? I forget.
It's a weird name to call a fart cloud the Milky Way.
Oh god, I'm off the cliff again.
Who the fuck is the Eldritch God out there naming their farts? Is that really what we are? We're the fart cloud of, like, the loser Eldritch God?
His name is Jesus.
Of course he wears sandals. I think I would, like, eventually start just trying to deconstruct myself entirely. Like, I would try to, like, rip my brain out, and, like, I would just exist as a brain.
Well, would that be even worse? Because then I guess that at least, that would be beneficial to your goal of, like, trying to go brain dead.
I would, because I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
Maybe my brain would, like, reboot itself, because technically it can't die. Or maybe it would just go into, like, perma-sleep. Because, like, what is the line between being alive and dead?
I don't know. I've never done the latter.
If you're Ash, are you alive?
Well, if I'd Ash, I'd probably have to catch them all.
Uh-huh. But if you're Ash, are you,
cut that out. Please, Luke, I know you'd like to play funnies on past us.
Ash from Pokemon even alive? He's a two-dimensional.
Well, he's not in the show anymore, so presumably he's passed on.
He's immortal and going insane in
out
space. In space. Let's say that, like, you are technically floating somewhere, and even though you're immortal, eventually, like, you crash on some distant planet. Like, are you gonna, like, go out? Because then it's like it's got mass, it's got energy, and therefore it's emitting slightly enough of it. Like, if it's enough energy, like, do you wake up? Like, what would happen if because you were being, like, the god of your fantasy world, and then all of a sudden, like...
I get woken up to, I'm just, like, real on a planet now.
A real woman touches your hand.
Someone else gets here.
Yeah! Yeah!
If another person touched my hand, that would probably, like, destroy my entire existence, fantasy and real.
Your fantasy family would be like, what's happened? And you're like, I have to kill you all now. I'm sorry.
I have to kill them before I can leave.
That's the cost of exiting the, like, existence. That's
what
something.
Cost?
That's what serial killers know that we don't. Is that in order to ascend to a higher plane of existence, you have to kill everyone. It's basically the plot to Dead by Daylight, isn't it?
Well, I think they got, like, recruited by
the one who recruited, but, like,
they're recruited by the one who already did that.
By their merits.
Yeah.
You know, they don't just take anyone to be a killer. You got to have numbers. I imagine that the central antagonist in that game, like the spider Eldritch God thing, has baseball cards of all the killers.
Are there other Eldritch guys that? Jesus Christ.
I'm sure there are. Why would that? I didn't know you could die in this.
Oh, you never fell off the edge?
No, I never.
Did you try to take the shortcut?
I didn't mean to, but I just got some air and then flew off.
Like by the stairs?
Yeah. Do you think there's other Eldritch gods in Dead by Daylight? What were you saying? Or
yeah, because that's the only one we see as like the big one.
Yeah. Well, I think Kai did confirm, right, that there's others trying to stop him.
Oh yeah, you might be right.
But we don't know of any of those. Hopefully they do like an event in the game that has something to do with that.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Maybe like action heroes from horror movies. Maybe like Ash from Evil Dead with the chainsaw hand.
Is he gonna catch him all?
That is the question.
Yeah. The game's kind of old now by this point, right?
Do you think they're not going to do anything big like that?
I don't think so.
What were we saying before the Dead by Daylight thing?
You brought up what if I was floating in space in my
yeah.
fantasy world and then I landed on a planet and a real woman touched me.
like would you like become jaded and like even though you are in reality like you don't accept it and you like continue just like shutting your eyes and you're like nope I'm in my fantasy world again and they're like come on aren't you hungry and you're like mm-mm.
So an actual human is touching me.
Yeah, like, let's say you were, even though you were in space, like, alone, floating forever, you had a trajectory, and, like, eventually you hit a planet that was like Earth.
Am I a person who was on Earth before? Like, I know what reality is, at least distantly?
Maybe not. How did you imagine it in the original Immortal scenario?
I guess I didn't really think about it, because I was imagining myself in that place with all the memories I have, but I didn't imagine, like... getting to that place.
Does the hypothetical even work without like a starting point? Because
I guess it doesn't. Because then you wouldn't have anything to go off of.
If you're just a body floating in space, but you have no like reference of like a planet or what life is before that. Yeah. So like, let's assume you were rendered immortal by the hypothetical.
It would be a huge shock to wake up and like I have landed and I am now among others.
It makes me think because effectively you're like in a coma by human standards. Like. Would they even be able to wake you up? Because
for the sake of the hypothetical, I'm gonna say yes, because that stimulates more brain.
What would you be like? Would you be like upset? Would you have lost everything that makes you you, or would like the fantasy you made be constructed of your experiences as a person?
I'd probably just be in such shock because with the fantasy I've constructed, images that I've had from like my normal like human Earth life would be distorted over time because that's just how memories work.
Yeah. They would continuously be like compressed and reduced over time.
Yeah, so my image of what a human looks like would even be different. So seeing a human what they actually look like would be very jarring because it would probably bring up suppressed memories of what they actually look like.
How would you react to even seeing yourself or seeing anything for the first time? Like you might actually be blind.
Oh yeah.
Your brain might not recognize it or accept reality. At first, eventually you would regain it.
Maybe. Maybe that's what makes me brain dead, is actually seeing everything.
Oh, okay.
Just thinking about my eyes, because you brought up vision. Would I be blind, or would seeing everything with like a substantial amount of light, would that be so bright to my eyes where I see it like too sensitively?
Well, you'd be blind anyway, because effectively you're not seeing what you're supposed to.
It's just whether I see black or white.
Yeah. Being blind doesn't mean you see black. It just means like you don't see.
That's really hard for me to think of though. If you don't have eyes or like your eyes just don't work at all,
if you didn't have eyes to begin with, at that point I have no idea. But like people who became blind in their lifetime, that's what they report that they see.
They still have like a vague sense of something.
Yes. Actually, I have no idea what it would even look like to have no eyes.
I don't know. Like what you're saying, it wouldn't look like anything. But what does that mean?
But it wouldn't be black.
Yeah, your brain just wouldn't interpret anything there.
I would imagine it would be like whatever the human equivalent is of like having like a webcam on your computer and just like ripping that out. And like, there's just no signal input.
It says EOS webcam utility.
Yeah, what is the equivalent of that to like the human brain?
Eyeballs disconnected.
Eyeballs disconnected. Just like a buffer. It is like a loading. I would laugh my ass off if I had my eyes ripped out and that's what happens. I'd just be standing there eyeless in my sockets and like I look like a drama mask.
Yeah.
I'd be laughing my ass off if I learned that's what That's what you see when you have no eyes.
You'd be comedy, I'd be tragedy.
You'd be like, oh god, it's horrible.
Did you ever watch The Amazing Digital Circus?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't tell Kai I was watching it, but I was watching it on the Discord call. He would just occasionally hear me go, ha! He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I was watching The Amazing Digital Circus. He's like, oh. He didn't ask any more questions. He was just like...
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's the experience. That is normal. So I have to comment on that. If you want to see my reaction of The Amazing Digital Circus, go to my YouTube channel.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the space thing, floating in space. If you land, what would being blind look like? What would you see? Would it be too sensitive? Would you already be blind?
Do you think you could be like rehabilitated back into just being a person? Because like you're blind at first, but you could still open your eyes because your body has that option. But you've been floating in space for millions of years. It's probably not going to be humans that you come into contact with unless like incredible coincidences happen, or we just happen to be the thing that people or that animals eventually turn into. Life comparable to our own encounters you, and then they try to rehabilitate you.
I think to a certain extent you could be rehabilitated, but you would never be the same as any other state that you'd been in, like on previous Earth, or you wouldn't be the same state as you were in space, and you wouldn't be the same state as other people are on this planet, because you've had such a unique experience, and you would always hold that time you spent in space with you in some way that that shaped you so drastically.
You'd probably just be like hollow, like you wouldn't have anything to say to anyone, even if like you could describe the experience. It's like you probably wouldn't, you know.
Well, you'd be hollow. I had a whole fantasy world in my head.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean. The shit you say could be, like, insane. Me, I would just be, like, quiet for the rest of my life. I'd probably be mute, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would happen anyway if we weren't talking. I feel like I might not even want to be rehabilitated. Over that time, if I did make my fantasy world, I would be so attached to that I would just want to go back to it.
Yeah.
I'd be craving darkness and quiet just so I could feel it again.
They could do that for you. They could probably just put you in, like, an isolation chamber.
Mm-hmm. Float me in salt water.
Yeah, float you in salt. What are those sensory deprivation chambers?
Yeah.
Or whatever their equivalent to water is. Maybe it's like boiling acid. But you wouldn't feel it.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel anything.
And they just like, for the first time, they got you on camera so they can monitor your vitals. They see a smile on your face.
And they think I'm showing my teeth so they kill me.
What the fuck, you can do that?
But they're
just one weakness.
They're
Bullets.
telepathying it to each other with expressionless faces.
Yeah. What would your fantasy world look like after that amount of time? Would people even like be remotely semblant of like what they once looked like, or do you think the brain would eventually get rid of all that jazz?
Definitely.
Are you gonna get the amount of fingers wrong when you realize you're part of your simulation? Then is when you realize you have 6 fingers or something.
Sorry, I just got really proud of myself because I fucking sniped Luigi with a green shell. I at first it would be pretty faithful because like if I just left Earth.
Yeah.
But over time I would start to lose details. Things would get blurry. I might be able to keep the idea of the very, very basic idea of, okay, this is a life. This is a person who inhabits a body and they create a community.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pictures of them and the ideas of what they do would definitely be extremely altered over time. Damn, I'm really killing it with these green shells. I just destroyed Baby Daisy.
I'd like to see art of that, of like what a human reconstruction of what people look like would be after suspension for like millions or billions of years.
That's a really fun like brain exercise, kind of a thought activity to do. Just try to think of what could be misinterpreted.
Yeah. At a certain point, I think there is a threshold of like how people interpret people, because like even instinctually, your earliest memories still have what people look like, or like a silhouette of people, or I guess like the general shape, even if the details aren't always there.
Well, the difference with that is, while we're still here, we can kind of fill in the blanks with other knowledge that we have. If I was left alone, I would have to fill in my own details, but like with right now in real life, if I kind of lose part of a memory of me as a childhood, me in childhood, I could look at a picture of me as a kid and be like, okay, that's what mom looked like at that point.
What I meant was like, even from an early age, I mean, we have like too vivid or too much reminders right now, but like I think even from an early age, before you're really aware of like what people really look like when you're a kid, kind of before you have like vivid memories, you still get the sense of like what people kind of look like.
Yeah, but with so much time that we can't even comprehend, and not being able to see those references, then it might fade a lot in more stranger ways, I guess.
That's true. I also feel like the discomfort, because it's not like inherently discomforting to be alive, but like also be alive in
Speak
space.
for yourself.
It's strange how that's my perspective, but also I'm the one that would try to effectively kill
Yeah.
myself. In the end, I become hollow, but for now I'm like, yeah, everything's great, and you're like, right now, oh no, I would create a fantasy world. I would hold on to it.
You asked me if I would create a fantasy world. I was like, actually, yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh yeah.
I didn't come up with the idea, but now I'm gonna hold that forever. And if I ever go to space and get lost,
I mean, I come up with it, but I don't claim ownership over it. What if we're in your fantasy world right now?
I need to get a better imagination.
And like really things are different. We only played Mario Kart the one time, but that was the last time you ever saw you had human interaction before you were launched into space by hypothetical God.
You give me one hypothetical and then I
Yeah.
just create bullshit off of that.
We only like it was like the day I moved in.
That's why your hypotheticals dropped in quality, because I'm imagining them now. I can't create the real ones.
And then like the one day I'm like, Luke, I think something was wrong, and you're like, what? And I just start like glitching out and like and like
You start making your sensor noises.
that's when you it's like the final days.
Come on, man, you're in the wall. You just lost like 3 spots.
I'm still in ninth.
Still, no, you became in 9th. You were in 6th, and you went to 9th.
I'm okay.
You know, you used to be in 5th overall, and now you doubled it.
I'm still in ninth.
No, you're in 10th overall now.
Shit.
Shitting. Shit, I did it again.
You like weren't even like trying to be funny.
No, I just did it on impulse.
That's-
It's just how I am. That's my natural state.
Shit. Okay.
That's my natty state.
You're
Tie it all together.
Maybe that's evidence enough of like what would happen or the general direction
My mind would go.
that your mind would go because like of the self-references. Your fantasy world would reference itself so often that it would become diluted.
I can only make Cycralo references in my fantasy.
Cycralo. That's what you said.
I know. I was hoping you wouldn't bring it up.
You can cut it out. You're the editor.
Well, not anymore. We've talked about it too long. And it's funny-ish.
In your fantasy world, if people still speak English, they're going to be like, I have to take a shitting.
I can never say just the root word anymore.
Shit is not a word.
I have to shitting.
I have to shitting right now. Would explosions lag in your fantasy world?
If they lag now, then definitely then, yes.
Well, okay, so to be fair, most explosions are going to be faster than human perception to begin with.
Definitely.
But if one did happen, even if I saw one in real life, it might actually lag for me. Like fireworks happen faster than human perception, but like we see the end result. That's kind of like lag. Let's go, last place. Yeah!
You passed it, though. You passed the line.
I did.
Well, next time. Leslie is always so positive, though. Like,
Yeah,
even in peril.
Even at her worst moments, she's like, oh, it'll get better. It never does. But she can't give in.
If you can't take me at my, oh no, you don't deserve me, at my next time.
I can't even remember what her victory sounds like.
Does she have one?
We'll never know.
Well, you've gotten first place in this session. Do it again, and then we have to listen to it.
It's easier said than done.
Yes, I said it. Now do it.
Easier.
It's not for me to prove.
Easier Here's this thing that I believe in. Now you prove it. It's your
I
responsibility.
reject reality and substitute my own.
That's from Mythbusters, right?
Yeah.
Let's introduce another prompt because I think we've played out the what if you were floating in space alone.
Hold on, let me win first. No, Bodo. Yes.
What if you
Bodo.
were floating in space with somebody else?
What if you woke up one day?
What if you?
Didn't you just say that we should move on to a new prompt and then you restarted the prompt with one variable?
I did. But let's move on because I don't want to indulge this one.
Okay. Let me pull out my phone. Deep question from my phone list prompts. What makes you uncomfortable?
Oh boy, there are a lot of things that make me uncomfortable. Well, let's try to define what discomfort is. To me, it's like when you're feeling squeamish, like if something gross happens. Basically, it's like cringe, but not as impactful. I think that's just my interpretation of it because I know it's probably more general than that. Not necessarily fearful of it, but just want away from it.
Spiders?
Spiders do make me uncomfortable. That's a true fact.
It turns to fear if they get close.
There's an Adam Sandler movie. Right, I guess it's a Netflix movie, but it's got Adam Sandler in it. Coming out in like March. I don't know what it's called, but I'm actually kind of pumped for it because
What's it about? And does this
It's
relate to the discomfort thing?
weirdly enough, it ties into more than that. It ties into a lot of things we've talked about just by coincidence. So Adam Sandler is a sole astronaut in space. At least from what the trailers, this is what I can tell from the trailers. He's like thinking about his family back home, and he wants to go home. And all of a sudden, there's this giant spider that can like communicate telepathically with him.
That's insane.
This is the prompt, yeah. I mean, it's all the prompts we've talked about, but this is the concept as far as that it describes itself as. After
When he sees it, does it go, yeah?
So I don't know if it's like his friend or what. He does make some like Adam Sandler sounds when he sees it.
What's an Adam Sandlerism?
Ew! Oh, what the hell is that? I don't know. I can't do an Adam Sandler voice. It's so sticky, something like that.
Not bad, not bad.
I'm getting there, but it's like a giant hairy spider. It appears to be able to communicate with him telepathically because like he's floating like in the fucking space living room or whatever the ship is, and it like peers around the corner, which kind of gives the impression that it's a horror movie, but I think it's a little bit more than that. I'll just let you see it for yourself, and I think you'll agree with me on a lot of points.
That's insanely intriguing.
It's intriguing.
And it's also just insane.
It's
a
also
fucking crazy
it's
concept.
an incredible coincidence with the amount of things that we've been talking about.
I know. We talked about almost all those things except for Adam Sandler already.
Yeah. And now we're here.
Playing Mario Kart.
Talking about Adam Sandler.
So what makes you uncomfy? Adam Sandler.
I mean, beyond spiders, not much. Like, I can literally have bird shit land in my eye and not be uncomfortable. I'd be a little upset, but I wouldn't be uncomfortable. Just spiders.
I feel like it's more situational stuff, like social situational stuff that makes me uncomfortable. If there's like a social misunderstanding that I was the wrong party in, then that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I guess maybe awkward is the extension of that. But an example of this would be, and this is like a really minor example, but
Okay.
it's just something that like, I don't know, makes me feel this. In my sculpting class, I was looking for some like small tool to use on my sculpture.
Sure.
And there's like little boxes out on some of the tables that have those tools in them, just like for the whole class to use. And I was going around through some of the boxes trying to find the tool I wanted.
Yeah.
And I went to one of them. I didn't realize that it was somebody else's box. Like somebody had a personal box of their own things that I just started digging through.
You just thought it was like a community thing?
Yeah, I started like looking through it, and then the person looks at me like, just like, because I did it right in front of them, because I didn't think anything of it, you know. Then I realized, I was like, "Oh, is this yours?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Oh fuck, sorry. Anyway, begin rifling through it.
And then I apologized, and they're like, "You're fine, man. Don't worry about it. It was just a misunderstanding." But even after I apologized and they like said like don't worry about it, I could tell they were sincere, like, oh yeah, it's no problem. I went back to my table where I was working and I felt uncomfortable from it even like after the fact.
Even though they weren't there.
It was all my
I
fantasy.
can't believe I did that. I have to kill them and all and everyone they know now.
And me.
Me last, so I can kill them first.
So I can ascend to the Eldritch God level in Dead by Daylight.
You beat awkwardness, my child.
Now kill these teenagers in the field.
Awesome, I never have to talk to anyone again, thought Michael Myers. That's what happened. His sister caught him rifling through her art box. So he had to stab her to death. That's why he looks so dumbfounded when they take off his mask and be like, Michael! He's like, I was almost there.
So the actor, Michael Myers, he wears he originally wore like a William Shatner mask, right? That they painted white.
The actor...
Let me rephrase this. The actor for Michael Myers in Halloween wore like a white painted William Shatner mask, right?
As far as I can tell, yes. So like, according to like the trivia, like the lore of making the movie goes, they went to a Halloween, because it was like a really low budget. I think actually John Carpenter himself, the guy who directed the movie, was the one who did this. He went to like a Halloween store looking for a mask for his movie. And like, there was a lot of choices, because like, I guess at the time, just masks of people's faces were a norm.
Yeah.
Like, it was like Richard Nixon was one, but all he knew is like, oh, I'm gonna paint it white and make it look ghostly and just make it look creepy. But we could have had anyone, like, I guess anyone who was like a well-known figure at the time. For whatever reason, he decided to go with William Shatner.
In-universe Michael Myers. Did he go to a Halloween store to get the mask?
Who knows? They never explained that. Because why the fuck would they just have that mask?
He just is with the mask once he
Yeah.
like starts roaming around the streets, right?
They never explained that in the store. They just explained, in the first movie, somebody broke into a Halloween store. I don't know if he drove around but like, I guess that's kind of the idea behind him, right? Is that they Like Michael Myers just seems to like know where people are at all given points. They like he knows how to drive. Like it stands to reason that he would also just know where a Halloween store is.
Well, yeah, that's a strange thing about him. This is the second episode where we're talking about Michael Myers, but whatever. This will be called "We Can Fix Michael Myers" Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
I find it interesting that I don't know if this has ever been explained in the movies, he can do all these supernatural things and they just don't talk about it. He can teleport, he can be alive no matter what happens to him. Because, like, he's been... In the first movie, he got shot, like, 3 times, right? And fell out of a building.
If they sent him into space, he would still be alive.
Michael X.
He would just pick up where he left off after he came in contact with the other planet.
He would be the one floating in space forever, creating his own fantasy.
The first person that like found him, he would just go, even though he doesn't have a knife. It's just his instinct.
He's been in a mental hospital since he was a kid, right?
The closest thing he's ever come to driving is like probably being in a car as a child.
But he just knows how to automatically.
Like perfectly, because he has to do it in the amount of time that it takes for him to like kick somebody out.
Does he eat anything?
We never see him eat anything.
What does he subsist off of? Or is he, like, truly ghostly? Is he actually...
He just seems
some
to...
supernatural
Well, he
figure?
Vanishes. We have no idea what he does when he's not on camera.
Screw you.
Presumably run, like, Usain Bolt from one house to the other. Like, to watch two ends of a telephone conversation happen.
That's what they didn't show you in the mental hospital. He was just running, like, laps around his cell.
There's like a guy waiting with water going by.
We're filming a movie in 8 years.
And he does that in a maybe that's why he's breathing so heavy when we see him.
Well, maybe we'll talk about this more when we play Halo Reach. I don't know when this comes out compared to that one.
Yeah, unless that reveals the order. I don't know if that's a weird thing.
It doesn't really matter. Not on my channel. Anyway, bye-bye.
Nothing matters. Not on my channel. Later, nerd.
Unsubscribe.
Check on the pizza. You say that.